Hello and welcome everyone to OCHATO, the fortnightly podcast where we drink tea and review manga. I am Jade.
I am Oliver.
And I am Suellen.
Every 2 weeks we pick a manga that one of us has recommended and we read up to a certain chapter and we discuss the manga with a megaton of spoilers. This week we are reading One Piece by Eiichiro Oda up to chapter 60, recommended by me. But before diving in, we must know the answer to the most important question. What is everyone drinking in their mug?
Well, I've got the classic Pucker Triple Mint. I was going to go for the Earl Grey, but today is Triple Mint Day.
Oh, I've got the good old vanilla chai in a nice duck mug.
Cute.
I'm drinking ginger and lemon tea.
Powerful.
Very nice.
I know, right?
Healing.
Very healing.
Rejuvenate.
We should do like a tally up of what tea people drinks. I feel like, I think the most popular one would be the free mint, like Pucker.
It's just such a good tea. Any mint tea is great because it can go any time of the day.
I agree. I was also thinking at one point in the future, just for fun, we should do like a tea sommelier class or like a course. Yeah, so we are reading One Piece by Eiichiro Oda, and this was first published in 1997. The official description of Chapter 1 on Viz is: as a child, Monkey D. Luffy was inspired to become a pirate by listening to the tales of the buccaneer red-haired Shanks. But his life changed when Luffy accidentally ate the Gum Gum Devil Fruit and gained the power to stretch like rubber, at the cost of never being able to swim again. Years later, still vowing to become the king of the pirates, Luffy sets out on his adventure. One guy alone in a rowboat, in search of the legendary One Piece, said to be the greatest treasure in the world.
Very nice.
Thank you. So for this episode, we've decided to go with 60 chapters. And this is because before Witch Hat Atelier, we were very, very nervous about doing this podcast and we didn't really know the structure. We were complete noobs at this. So we decided to practice with One Piece, and for that episode, the elusive episode 0, we read 30 chapters of One Piece. And so we have doubled the amount because I guess most of us has just picked up from where we left off. I'm interested to know, how many chapters did you guys read or get up to?
Yeah, bang on 60. I think
Nice. I read up to and including 68, as that was the end of that little arc bit.
Perfect. I read up to 60, including 60. Cool.
Haven't you read a lot more?
So I got up to chapter 938.
Good Lord.
In the space of 2 months, whilst I was trying to write my master's dissertation.
That was what you were doing during our masters. Aha!
You know what? I kind of get her. Like, I think when I have when I'm stressed, I always find like this like escape. So during my masters, instead of reading One Piece, I made sure that every day I play at least like 1 hour of Hollow Knight. Like, I swear, like after exams, I just stopped playing it. I just forgot about it for some reason. But that was my form of escape.
It's so good. I think I was just watching loads of anime, to be honest with you. It was
choice
good.
also.
It's a stressful time, but a good time.
Yeah.
What does it say about us that instead of actually studying and writing our dissertations, we were doing other stuff?
Yeah.
It's okay. Comment. We all need a break once in a while. So what were your first impressions?
So I'll talk about One Piece as a whole, and then I'll probably be a bit more detailed on chapters 30 onwards. Perfect. As they're more recent for me. So first impressions, a little intimidated, to be honest. I knew One Piece had like 900 something chapters, which is a heck of a lot to go into. And, you know, it's rave reviews. It's, is it the highest selling manga ever? I believe so, by like a pretty large margin. So yeah, a little intimidated. but excited too. I'll speak a bit more about each bit, I guess, as we get to it. So I think I think intimidated is really the main word.
Right. Yeah. For me, I think, yeah, I was definitely put off from starting it because I know it will be quite a big chore because you're thinking, like I still have 700 and so chapters left or something, and you just didn't want that unnecessary pressure. But at the same time, I think I was very curious of what makes this particular series so popular yet also long lasting. I mean, by the fact that it's been ongoing for more than 10 years now, there must be something special about it. So at first I was curious, and reading it, I think I could understand why. So because the series started in the 90s or near the end of 90s, and the sort of style art is very nostalgic to me. So that was my first impression. Intimidating, but nostalgic feeling, if that's a correct way of saying it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess it sometimes feels like, when you're walking up a hill and the top of the hill that you're walking up is obscuring the top of the next hill. So it's just like you can't see the peak at all. It's just like hills that you have to conquer. But yeah, I totally agree with you guys. I think when I first read it, I was looking to try one of like the big series, like Bleach or Naruto.
The big three.
See, I'm not sure if Fairy Tail is included or Full Metal.
They're not the classic big three from whenever the heck that was. I guess early 2000s. So the big three originally were One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto. But at the time of recording this, Bleach and Naruto have both been completed.
Yes. And I think when I looked at the big three, I think the plot of One Piece seemed the most intriguing to me. So I think that's why I picked it. And then when I started reading it, I just couldn't stop. I was, up till 4 a.m., barely sleeping some nights because I just wanted to find out what happened to Chopper. What did you think of the storyline? So chapter 60 is where we see Sanji sort of being recruited, sort of not. Like Luffy wants him, but Sanji doesn't want to join him. So up till that point, what did you guys think?
Sorry, just to interrupt. Sanji is the cook guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Wow, that's very that's a huge range because we went, I think, from chapter 1 to chapter 60, there are 3 to 4 arcs? I don't know, roughly. I think overall, I can see why there's that you can create so much substance for this series, because they already set up that, you're trying to find this elusive treasure that's placed in a mysterious grand line. You already set up all these sort of, there's a lot of obstacles, like first is finding the place, and also they hinted at the place it's almost impossible because there's so much sort of terror or horrors that are going to happen or already has happened to people. Pirates are trying to find the One Piece, and with pirates, I think the creator had a lot of fun in creating all those different character designs. Let's say you have sort of clown pirates, and then you have sort of cool swordsman pirate, and there's also the deal with the devil fruit. By setting sort of a vague idea, this fruit gives you powers, the mangaka could they didn't restrict themselves to any boundaries just yet. They allowed themselves to sort of, I thought of this very cool power that could potentially be a boss in future fights, and which I thought was really cool. In terms of different types of pirates, you can come up with endless of designs. So I thought that was really cool that the mangaka sort of already set up these placeholders, I guess, maybe, that allows them to create endless storylines and plots as they wish. So I can see why it became sort of that it's still running, it's still ongoing till this day. So I enjoyed, the ride. That I loved seeing sort of Luffy meeting different people and teaching them lessons, often without meaning to, because I feel like Luffy as a character is too sort of, I don't want to call him dumb, but he is quite simple-minded, like, which I think that is sort of the best way to, I guess, to resolve a problem, because he's like, he sees straight through the point. He doesn't sort of complicate it with other sort of emotions, like
anything other than resolve.
Yeah, other than just pure determination. He's just a ball of determination, and I love that. So yeah, I guess that's the summary of my feelings from chapter 1 to chapter 16. That was a hefty one.
So just as a little kind of recap on the arcs, we start off with the Romance Dawn arc, which is just kind of the intro arc. It's only 7 chapters. Then we get Orange Town. Then we get the lovely named Syrup Village, which I want to go to. And then the arc that we've finished on is Barati, which is the one with the cooks and the the floating restaurant, which I thought was a really cool concept.
Yeah.
Of these, did any of you have a kind of favourite of the first 4 arcs? Because at least for me, just to give you some time to think on it, I've been enjoying the arcs more and more as we've gone in. Romance Dawn was fine, but it was everything was very new, so I wasn't very invested. And then as we've been learning more about the characters and, gaining more knowledge of the world as well, I've been sucked in more and more. So for me, my enjoyment's gone up each arc.
Yeah, I think I'd have to say the same. I think it's often the most recent chapters, because I feel like with each arc, we see more and more of the world that the mangaka has created. So we start off with a tiny village next to a port, and then we move to the actual sea where we've got up to now. So I think it's pretty cool because we see a whole cast of characters and their relationships with the villains, with each other, with Luffy and his crew, and I would have to agree with you there.
I feel the same, because I was going to say the more recent one, and I think you voiced my reason there, because we learned a lot more about the world, more than the other arcs, at least, because, we learn about the Grand Line, and also why is it so hard to find, and even if it found sort of roundabout where it is, and how, like, there's still a lot of obstacles, and sort of kind of the mangaka sort of tease you, like, yeah, I bet you want to know what's going to happen next, huh?
It's true.
Make sure you keep reading.
Jade, did you find that trend continued as you kept reading, or did you find that you enjoyed some of the later arcs more than others? No spoilers for the later arcs.
What can I say without giving much of it away? It's awesome. It gets absolutely epic later on, because I don't know if this is a spoiler, but a lot of the villains actually become Luffy's allies.
Okay.
And that's why. So when I first started reading One Piece, I would sometimes ask people, who's your favorite character? And they'd say a villain that I had just gotten to. And I'd be like, what? But like, they did this to Luffy. And then I get to the point where they help Luffy out. And it's like, oh, okay. And I love how it shows maybe people's feelings can be changed and people's actions can be different once they experience a life lesson. Yeah. I was also going to say, as we see more and more of the world, I love that the mangaka answers questions at the end of each chapter and gives explanations, and it really helps to reinforce their vision of the world that they've created. And a lot of the answers are really motivational too. So, for example, I saved this one. So someone wrote in and asked, how come Luffy never kills his enemies? And then the mangaka said, Because in that era, everyone uses their lives to fight for their dreams. For an enemy, when their dream has been shattered, it is the same as losing a fight, and as painful as death. I believe for a pirate not to kill an enemy, it's giving them a second chance to fight for their dreams.
Ah, that's very one, good of him, and two, very shonen. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I love that they interact with their fans so much.
Yeah,
as
I was going to
well.
mention actually the those little bits at the end of each of the chapters, either a little bit of artwork of, you know, maybe what kind of the loose threads or what the people are doing after Luffy's gone off onto greater things. All these question and answers. Big fan, really like them. They help kind of flesh it out that little bit more, and just give you some context that you might not be able to get otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think that a piece of art at the beginning of a chapter,
Yeah, I was gonna say as well.
oh, it's just so cute sometimes when Luffy and the crew are just hanging out next to a hippo. It's like, yeah, of course they'd be hanging out next to a hippo. Why not? Speaking of artwork, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I was gonna continue on about the sort of the chapter cover because I love how the mangaka sort of utilized it to tell the side story of Buggy the Clown.
Yes.
The adventures, and also like foreshadowing what other characters we will meet. The
Yeah.
mysterious lady who's looking for Luffy.
But why? Why?
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out. See, I knew, you know, they like to tease us.
What about the artwork in general for you?
I guess at a first glance, I thought it was quite sort of very early, sort of 90s style and very simple. But I think that's just the beginning because characters like Zolu and other villagers and Luffy, sure, they have distinct features that make them stand out, but they're not pirates that are been, you know, sailing for 20 plus years where they have developed a very distinct sense of style. So I quickly realized that I was sort of wrong to judge it by the first few chapters, and as the story sort of progresses, the design just gets more and more intricate and more detail, which I was very impressed. And not just the character designs, but also the environment, the backgrounds are also very well done. It's like I took note of when I think it was Buggy the Clown's cannon that blew through like 15 different houses. I thought that was like really well drawn. Must have been crazy hard to draw. So I was very impressed. I really liked it. The actions are very cool, and it can be very comical at times as well. What about you, Oliver?
Yeah, I am still a bit undecided. I've partly just been spoilt by some things like Witch Hat Atelier or Solo Leveling or One Punch Man, which are goddamn gorgeous at times. I like the art style in general of One Piece. Back in episode 0, I didn't like it as much, just in the first 30, but I've come to like it some more. It's very expressive, which I think works really well with the way that they have their characters. And I think it works really well with the general demeanor of the characters, that you have this really expressive art style. But I'm still kind of struggling to track it or what's happening in some action scenes. So there's a bit in like chapter, I don't know, maybe 48, 50, where I think a ship is like split in two or something. And I had like, it's a big, really detailed, intricately drawn scene, but I had no idea what was happening.
Is it a bit when they're like, oh, the ships are, what is it? I can't. There's a word that they use. I know what it means by itself, but they use it in that context, and I was like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's a nautical term. Listing.
Oh yeah, okay. What does that mean?
That means it's tipping over.
Ah, okay. But was it around there?
Yeah, it was around there.
Yeah.
And I, like, if they hadn't said that, I'd be like, what is going on? You know, some of these are really pretty to look at, but some of them I'm still kind of struggling to track what the action is. Having said that, some of the other action scenes that they have, so there's a scene very close to it where Luffy's being thrown around on the end of a ball and chain. And that was just awesome. It was only like 3-4 panels, but you can tell exactly what's going on. You get a real sense of momentum. And I think that's where the One Piece art shines. It's in these action scenes. Jay, what did you think of it in these chapters? And does it change as we move on?
I think the mangaka's art style has definitely improved. I think as it would anyway after years and years and years of investing your time and effort into honing your skills, it gets so beautiful later on as well. I really love how creative the artwork is sometimes, and how creative the mangaka's ideas are. So, for example, with Luffy making himself really huge to bounce back a cannonball, that was awesomely drawn. And I think in expressions as well, it's also pretty well done. Even in animals, like that small dog protecting the sad
Oh,
faces
my
on both
heart.
you,
My
both
heart.
your faces.
Oh.
It's so sad, but so cute as well. So full of determination to protect the store. I think overall, I really dig the art style, and it does get a lot better later on. In the epic scenes in future chapters, it's definitely clearer on what is actually happening. Like there are some really fast-paced scenes where everything is happening in the blink of an eye, and you get some characters just running down a corridor, chasing each other, arrows, guns firing at them, and it is made a lot clearer, I would say.
Okay, that's good, because that's my main concern at the moment, is having no idea what's going on in some of the action scenes, these like big epic set pieces.
Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from, Ollie. I would definitely recommend keeping on with this manga because, yeah, some of the action scenes are just chef's kiss. Do you guys have a favorite character?
Yeah, I still quite like Nami a lot. I like that she's a bit less, maybe one-dimensional. Luffy's great, but he's very single-minded, and he's very like clear about his intentions. And I like that Nami has that little bit of deception, and so she's like, yeah, sure, I'll join, and then psych, no, she's just here to steal your stuff.
And then she'll be like crying on the ship, like, I'll see you again someday.
Yeah, I really like that, and I think it's some much appreciated depth. So yeah, I like her the most.
In a way, she's sort of clear on her, set in her intention as well, that she will rob pirates.
It's going to steal from everybody.
I love that. I love that energy. I love that kind of energy. Yeah, I think I spoke to you before, Jay, that you sort of gave me a hint that Sanji is like grapefruit head guy from My Hero Academia. So I'm a bit I'm like sort of so I don't know so far anyway in chapter 1 to 60 I think he's my favorite. I just like the way he's like, I'm a cook, I don't care where they came from, I'm gonna do my job and cook for them, so I like his sort of I guess alignment on that, and he seems to have more depth to just sort of grueling after ladies, at least hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's not Grape Head from My Hero Academia.
Oh no, yeah, I was totally exaggerating because later on he has his backstory explained and he does get a lot more fleshed out, and you can really see where he's coming from and his relationships with people and how they've developed. So yeah,
Okay,
totally respect the Sanji pick. I think mine, Suellen, you already know mine because you drew him on a birthday card for me.
Yeah.
It's Three Sword Zoro.
Yes.
Everything about that guy is just wow. I want to be him. And his style of fighting as well is so elegant and graceful. He's like in cool stances all the time. Like, how does he look so cool like 100% of the time? I don't understand.
Have you seen any of the manga? Any of the anime, sorry?
I watched episode 1, but I think because it was that kind of anime style that was like very kind of 90s, early 2000s kind of quality. And I think I wasn't in the mood at that time.
That's fair. I just brought it up because I was thinking, you were saying about Zoro having the really elegant style, and I would wonder what it would look like animated.
Oh, true.
So the Q&A that the mangaka sort of has at the end of each chapter, I just read one when you were talking about Zolo's hair. Some kid, I'm guessing, messaged the mangaka saying, "Oh, I went to the barber and asked for a Zolo haircut, and he just shaved it off." What should I ask next time when I get a haircut? And the mangaka was so sweet. He was like, "Oh, just ask for a super cool manly haircut to get it just like Zolo's instead of being bald."
Ah,
I thought that was
Aw.
so cute. Also so sad, rip.
poor child.
Anyway, I know. I'm guessing as a child because I don't know. They didn't sound too down about it. They're just like, what should I do next time? Should it look like Zolo?
Diet green as well.
Ooh, bold.
Yeah,
Mm.
true.
Speaking of favorite characters, do any of you have a favorite villain so far?
Ooh, that's a tough one, Jade. Gin. He is one of the subordinates of Don Krieg, who's meant to be a really strong pirate, because he's very like determined on being like that, but then he understands the good that has been done for him from the cooks, and so he asks them to spare them, and then essentially keeps his honor. And I thought that was pretty cool from a villain.
For me, favorite villain, I think I like, what's his name? The swordsman that was fighting Zolo.
Mihawk.
Zula. Yeah, oh, Hawkeye. Hawkeye. Sorry. Oh, is this the Avengers? What is it? Who was first? Hawkeye from Marvel or Hawkeye from One Piece, huh?
It's a very good question.
Yeah,
Mm.
Hawkeye. Because, he sort of, instead of just cold-bloodedly killing Zolo just because he wasn't the greatest swordsman in comparison to him, he sort of, instead of encourage him to sort of get stronger and beat him one day. I thought that was quite admirable. And I love how he just showed up and then just left. He's like, my job is done here, but what did you do? I'm here to serve as a character. I'm here to build character. And then I leave. But yeah, he was cool. I like his vibe and his character design. So yeah, I think now that you mentioned it, Ollie, I liked that guy as well. I think I was like, yeah, good morals. He kept his honor. So
That he did.
yeah. What
Jade,
about
do you have
you,
a
Jade?
favorite?
Oh, jinx. Yeah, I do. My favorite villain would probably be Boogie, because as I said earlier, a lot of the people from the earlier chapters of One Piece show up in like chapters 5, 6, 7, 800 to help Luffy out, or is just chilling in a random village and Luffy just comes across them again or something. And I like how they reappear, and it's so obvious that they have changed. And yeah, I think Boogie has a really cool jailbreak scene with Luffy later on, and the act of Boogie helping Luffy basically escape from jail. But Boogie's actions in that were really cool to see. He has the same powers, but just the way that he uses his powers to help Luffy out now was really nice.
I love like something that happens in like episode 1 comes back in like way, 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 way down the line in the series, and
Yeah.
that's just so cute. One Piece sounds so cute now. It's like all the villains turning into your allies. Ah,
Yeah.
that's the best.
Do you have any favorite scenes or gags?
I still like that giant bird one the most. That's still like the funniest gag I've seen in
Yeah.
it. I think it's when they try and like go hunting for a bird.
It was just him and Zolo at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And they
And it
thought
turns
that
out
was
to
a
be,
really tiny bird.
yeah,
Mm.
and it's huge. I really like that.
Yeah. I think I loved all the gags because in a way they're sort of tropey, but they're not. He sort of took it and spun it a different way. Just like when the guy is sort of pretending to be dead in the Buggy the Clown arc, where they're like, "Oh, how come boss is? Oh, we'll just stay here until boss comes." And then when boss came, it's like, "Oh, the boss, the boss got beaten. No way, let's stay there a little bit longer." And I just love that. I think a lot of times actually he does this really well, where you don't expect there to be a gag, and then it'll just be there. Like sort of when I think there's a lot, but the latest one that I can think of is the one where the shield guy was like, "Oh, I've never bled once in all the fights that I've had," and then there's just come Luffy. That was quite funny.
It was also nice that it wasn't like even necessarily an intentional wound. He just had
Yeah,
Luffy like thrown into the back of him.
yeah, I love it. There are a lot more. I just can't think of them right now, but I love it. The gags are great.
I love how a lot of them just sleep to heal up. Like, who needs medicine in One Piece?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, is Zolo like invincible? He's like, I'm just gonna take a nap right here. Even though I'm bleeding out of my guts, I'm gonna nap time, nap time. That solves everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a lot of good ones later on where Luffy's crew really loves to eat. So it's nice when they have a little celebration after they help save another town or another village from, someone who's holding them captive. So that's really, really nice to see. Would you continue reading One Piece?
I love to. I love to see where it goes and any other sort of awesome people that Luffy will meet and recruit on his ship. And now that you sort of tease me about Sanji, yes,
Oh yeah.
about Sanji's backstory, I'm like, I'm in. I want to know more. So yeah, definitely.
What about you, Oliver?
Probably, yeah. I'm a lot more hooked than I was at the end of about 30-ish chapters. Mostly because they had a weird panel that didn't quite seem to fit that I saw you mention a little while back. On like
Yeah.
chapter, what was it, 52? Where they
Mm.
just mentioned that the East Blue is like the most chilled of the quadrants and that there's a lot more. And that world exposition is really what I'm interested in because I'm quite enjoying the like villain of the week kind of thing. It's a bit longer than week, but you know what I mean, the shorter arcs. But I'd like to see some kind of raising of scope and stakes now, and just that little hint as to actually you're in the safe zone has been enough. So I probably will read more. Yes.
Yeah, actually, sorry. Question for you, Jade. Will the sort of plot get more complex than just fighting people who don't want you to get to Grand Line?
Yes. So for Usopp, Sanji, Zoro, Nami, and in future you will have Nico Robin, Chopper, the skeleton guy. I'm so sorry, I've forgotten his name. And I think at least 3 more crew members. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does get a lot more complex and a lot deeper because I think people's backstories are revealed and you get reasons for why they're doing things. And it's not just about, oh, this person's stopping me from getting to One Piece, I need to crush this guy. It is like, oh, I need to go save my friend, or I want to take a holiday to this village, but then I get captured. It's
Amazing.
yeah, it's like a whole spectrum of things, and
Love it.
I think you'll really like it.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it because it in the latest arc it got a bit more complex, so it sort of really hooked me there
Yeah.
more than the other arcs. I think there was one, I would call it a filler arc, is the chess guy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
That
was
was
very
like-
much a filler.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, so they just, that was it. Nothing really happened. They didn't gain anything.
I felt really bad when Luffy went up and was like, "Yeah, the chests are all empty. Sorry, buddy."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that was cute
yeah,
though. I guess that was a heartwarming
yeah,
moment when he's like, no, I'm gonna show it to you.
yeah. And I love that he stayed behind. Like he chose to stay behind to help care for the animals and prevent the bad guys from, destroying the island.
He made friends with Buggy the Clown. That was cute.
Exactly. So last episode, we reviewed the manga Grand Blue or Grand Blue Dreaming, recommended by Ollie. And we do a section of our podcast where we put the main characters / characters of the previous manga into our current one. And I'm going to go with Kitahara, the main character, and not his cousin as well.
Okay. I see. A sensible choice.
Okay.
How do you think he would fare in One Piece?
Oh, I'm already like imagining. I think in a way he'll fit into the lifestyle of sort of I mean he's quite easily influenced, this kid. So I feel like he'll get into the zone of sort of, oh yeah, treasure and of course the drinking. I mean, come on. I think maybe not the cousins, but at least the whole gang of the diving team who are sort of into drinking, I feel like they'll fit right in and it'll be hilarious. Not sure about the power ups though. I love to hear what you guys think. Sort of, will he have like secret power like the devil fruit, or just an ordinary pirate who just loves drinking?
I think that you could just copy paste some of the jokes, like setting the water, quote unquote, on fire, like straight into One Piece, and it would work beautifully.
Yeah.
I think he'd work really well as a side character, just kind of one that's there. He's always got like some kind of beer on hand, but also I like his kind of where you're expecting him to do the right thing and he does just absolutely not the right thing at all for comedic effect, not to dramatic effect. I think that would work really well as well. So I think he'd fit right in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds hilarious.
Yeah. I think they'd feel right at home as well. Like all that water that they can dive into.
Yeah.
They'd be so happy. I think them joining Luffy's crew would be interesting because I agree that they'd add the comedy into several, action fighting scenes, because I think they'd honestly just get too drunk to fight all the time.
I think they'll be useless to Luffy, no offense.
Yeah, they'd just wake up and like be like, "Oh, the fight's over. Oh, what? The boat's already
what
set
time
off."
is it?
Yeah.
You know what? I think it would be really funny if it's like Luffy and the gang, well, especially the more serious characters in Luffy's crew would sort of hate them because they don't take anything seriously. It will be a gag, so everywhere they went, there would just be their bar crawling. You just see pub crawling. You just see them,
I love it.
these guys again. Like, and then they just always happen to sort of like in the middle of a fight, they'll be just like passed out, but like Luffy and a gang would use them as weapons, like throw it at the enemy or something.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, and would you recommend One Piece?
Final thoughts. I enjoyed it. I think the more you read of it, the more invested you'll get. So if I were to recommend it to somebody, I'd recommend it to somebody that has enough time to get through maybe 50 chapters, which, how long would you say that would take? Maybe 3 hours? A little longer? A little shorter?
To get to 150 chapters?
No, just 50.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I'd say around 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
I would say 4, yeah.
Yeah, because it takes a little while to get started. I would also say don't get put off by the huge number of chapters. You'll know you'll know at that point kind of whether or not you're going to enjoy it. And then it's either, yes, there's loads of plot, or it won't matter anyway. So yeah, I think I would recommend it. I'd especially recommend it to somebody that wants a proper adventure and wants to know that the manga that they're going to be reading is good. It's funny. It's obviously well reviewed for many reasons. I've been enjoying it. So yeah, I would recommend it.
Yeah, I would recommend it as well. In a way, it's quite a light-hearted read, but it's also you can get invested to the characters quite easy because they're all sort of charming in their own way. And yeah, if you enjoy sort of large cast of characters and found family trope, I think you'll enjoy this manga.
Awesome. Yeah, I would recommend it as well. Just because I think if you're looking to read one of the big three and you haven't read any of the big three before because they're all a bit long. I mean, One Piece is long, but I think out of what I have read, I haven't read Naruto yet. And one of us will have to recommend that at some point in the future.
I've read all of Naruto and all of Bleach. So
okay.
Nice.
Lovely.
I love how you're like, yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to say One Piece because I think it's just such a different world from the one we live in and the one we know. You know, you have all sorts of creatures, all sorts of powers, all sorts of people and situations, and it's so silly and I really love it. So before I read up to chapter 938-ish, and I have to say it's risky if you get to the latest chapter, but then you have a really busy period and don't read for like a good month or so, and that month turns into like a year, and then when you try to come back to One Piece again, you forget everything that's happened and who everyone is. So when I tried to go back to like chapter 920-ish, I was like, who are you? I do not remember seeing you here before. How are you here? So I would recommend trying to keep up with One Piece and refreshing the characters in One Piece, because I think once I realised that I would need to start all over again, I got a little bit demotivated, but our reviewing of One Piece has helped reinvigorate my burning passion for pirates and not pirating. Wait, pirating is like a totally different thing.
You wouldn't download a car. you wouldn't steal a car. You wouldn't download clothes.
This is probably a good time to mention, actually, if you do want to read One Piece, it's available as part of the Viz subscription, which is like £2 a month or something. It's very affordable and it gets you all 900 and something chapters. Strongly recommended.
Oh yeah.
So what are we reading next time?
Woot woot. Next time is my suggestion. We are reading Delicious in Dungeon, or in Japanese, sort of Dungeon Meshi, by Ryoku Kui. We're reading up to chapter 28, or the end of volume 4.
Fantastic. I look forward to it.
Perfect. I'm really excited.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much for reading OCHATO. Oh my
This has been OCHATO and we still have no outro.
Thank you so much for reading One Piece with us this week.
See you in the next episode.
Again, I still don't remember what my part of this outro is.
Oh yeah,
yeah, Oliver, you're screaming.
Oh yeah, I forget about this. Every week it catches me out.
I honestly think you do it subconsciously, Ollie, because like
when we don't have it cued, I'm like, okay, this is the time to go woo. Whereas when we do have it cued, I'm like, man, I feel like I should be saying something, but I don't remember what I'm meant to be saying because it's never scripted.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Woo!